Tonight, raging on. Fire crews in the air and on the ground battle spreading flames in Los Angeles and the return of gusty winds.
I'm Maurice Dubois in the Mandeville Canyon neighborhood of L.A., where firefighters are battling to beat back these flames as they come dangerously close to these homes.
The largest fire growing, forcing new evacuations of people and animals.
I'm Lilia Luciano at one of the many fire lines where crews from all across California and other states are working hard to save as many homes as possible.
At least 11 people dead, residents reeling.
Nothing prepares you for this amount of destruction.
Their neighborhoods now looking like a smoldering war zone.
We are hurting.
But the mayor facing a mounting firestorm of criticism.
I'm Tom Hinson in Pacific Palisades, where angry residents are demanding answers to what many believe was a failed response to this historic disaster.
Also tonight, special counsel Jack Smith resigns from the Justice Department.
I'm Willie James Inman at the White House. Smith is out while the future of his report detailing his investigation into President-elect Donald Trump hangs in the balance.
Plus, remembering Sam Moore. The legendary singer dead at the age of 89. And later, stepping into the breach in the aftermath of the wildfire disaster.
I'm Elise Preston in Arcadia, California, where the city of Angels is living up to its name as people help fire victims with basic necessities.
And I feel like I'm God's soldier, so this is what I should be doing.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York with Jerika Duncan.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday. It has been a horrific week in Los Angeles. Tonight, an aerial assault is underway in the neighborhoods of Brentwood and Encino. Fire crews are rushing to save homes, and they're battling the return of gusty winds after the Palisades fire flared overnight, ripping through acres of bone-dry California landscape. New evacuations have been ordered. The Palisades fire is the largest of 4 active fires. 2 others are reported contained and not expected to spread further. Flames have scorched more than 38,000 acres, an area bigger than the entire city of San Francisco. The death toll again stands at 11. Today in Houston, where the LA Chargers played the Texans, there was a moment of silence for fire victims and Southern California. Let's go to CBS's Maurice Dubois in Los Angeles in the thick of it all, where he leads off our coverage tonight. Maurice, good evening.
Jerika, good evening to you. Tonight, about 7,000 firefighters are working to try to contain the spreading flames here in Los Angeles County. It is day 5 now, no end in sight. This disaster destroying more than 12,000 homes and other structures. Today, crews race to suppress multiple fires, including at this home in Mandeville Canyon. While progress was made, winds are again intensifying. Also today, Mayor Karen Bass and Fire Chief Kristen Crowley defended their preparations and response to the fires. At a news conference, the two also addressed their differences, saying they are focused on getting the city out of the current crisis. Now, overnight, the Palisades fire, the largest of them, grew by about 1,000 acres, leading to new evacuations, and National Guard troops are deployed to keep properties safe. 22 people have been arrested, including suspected looters. We have a team of CBS News correspondents covering this disaster. We begin with CBS's Lilia Luciano with the latest fire developments. Lilia, good evening to you.
Good evening, Maurice, and you're right, the winds are picking up, and we are not far at all from that house you just mentioned. And as you can see, there is smoke around, and I can see from the leaves and from the running firefighters that the situation could be a little bit heavier in the coming hours.
Firefighters in Los Angeles are making an all-out aerial assault with helicopters dumping water on the spreading flames, while planes drop fire retardant in an effort to slow down the quick-moving Palisades fire, now threatening additional Los Angeles neighborhoods.
Just a few hours ago, there were walls of flames up this hill, and what you're seeing now is crews cutting a fire line just to cool off this area. And when the wind shifts in this direction, that would hopefully stop the fire from hitting these homes.
Fresno Battalion Chief Lupe Fernandez.
We've successfully got this line in, and our goal is to get at least the first 25, 50 feet cooled off before we see the winds this afternoon.
In the Mountain Gate community, these farm goats had to be corralled and moved to safety as the flames crept closer. with officials now issuing new evacuation orders for residents in parts of the Brentwood and Encino neighborhoods. That's where we met Jim Bear, who was packing up all he could from his mother's home of 65 years.
And how close is the fire right now to your place?
It's probably, as the crow flies, about a mile away.
Are you concerned?
No. And the reason I'm not concerned is that people come first, and the people are all out here that I love, and things can be replaced, and you do the best you can.
22 or more thousand acres have already been destroyed in this fire alone. 5,000 structures, hundreds of those are homes, and authorities in California today are warning against price gouging and telling people that it could take you a year in jail if you take part of those practices. Maurice.
Okay, Lilia Luciano, thanks so much. Tonight, the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, faces heavy criticism over the city's response to the fires. CBS's Tom Hansen joins me now. And Tom, you had some tough questions for the mayor today.
That's absolutely right. And frustration is growing towards city officials. Look no further than where we're standing to understand why. I want to zoom out so viewers can have a look as well. This is one of the hundreds of homes in the Palisades neighborhood now reduced to ash and rubble. And Maurice, this is what it looks like in virtually every direction. As LA firefighters battle intensifying flames, Democratic officials are facing heated criticism from residents.
The chief and I are lockstep in our #1 mission. And that mission is to get us past this emergency right now.
Today, Mayor Karen Bass and Fire Chief Kristen Crowley presented a unified front at a press briefing, following reports the mayor had dismissed the chief over her complaints of insufficient resources. How can Angelenos be sure that you two are on the same page when everyone is facing this historic and unprecedented crisis?
We have one mission, and that is going to be our sole focus. Now, prior to this, the chief and I have always been in regular communication, and we will continue to do that.
But during an earlier interview, the fire chief appeared frustrated in her department's ability to fight fires after a more than $17 million budget cut last year.
We are screaming to be properly funded to make sure that our firefighters can do their jobs so that we can serve the community that we took an oath.
Governor Gavin Newsom is also facing questions over the response. On Friday, he ordered an investigation into why a 117 million gallon reservoir in the Pacific Palisades was out of service and the loss of water pressure to some fire hydrants, calling it deeply troubling.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
That's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be.
I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I would. I understand.
But would you do that?
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not.
For the moment, Mayor Bass wants to stay focused on the fires.
When the fires are out, make no mistake, we will have a full accounting of what worked and especially what did not.
And tonight, as the fires continue to burn, the tab from all of the damage is reaching well into the billions. Maurice, some experts say that this fire could be the costliest in California's history.
We can feel the people's pain. Tom Hansen, thanks so much. Now, on top of all that firefighters are battling tonight, officials tell us there is another front in this fight. It's a matter of life and death, and it's coming at them right out of the sky. Firefighters battling the flames from above. Air tankers are dumping thousands of gallons of flame retardant as super scoopers and helicopters drop massive amounts of water to slow the fast-moving Palisades fire. Complicating the attack, drones. People are out there using drones right now and interfering with the firefight in a pretty significant way.
That's correct. It's over the last few years, we've seen an increase in personal drone activity. You know, this message we try and get out to the public is if you fly, we can.
California state officials say there have been at least 40 incidents involving drones, forcing firefighters to temporarily ground air operations. One drone even hit a super scooper, putting a hole in the wing and taking it out of commission. How terrible is that?
It's very significant. There's no excuse for flying a drone. It's just willful misbehavior at this point, which is hard for me to fathom in an incident like this.
While the FAA has issued a warning for drones to stay out of the skies, firefighters still battle to control the flames and the airspace.
There's no proven method to stop these drones that we can deploy on an incident like this in a real blanket fashion to keep all the drones down. That technology just doesn't exist yet at that level.
So you're relying on people to have some common sense.
Exactly.
The FBI is working with fire officials to try to catch unauthorized drone operators. It's a federal crime, punishable with up to a year in prison and a fine of up to $75,000. Drone restrictions in wildfire areas will remain in place until at least the 23rd of January. Well, tonight, the weather is again heightening the fire risks. Let's check in with CBS News meteorologist Grant Gilmore.
Good evening, Maurice. Look, I want to give some perspective to just how dry Southern California was going into this past week. Since May 1st, downtown L.A. has only seen 0.29 inches of rain. The normal amount of rainfall for May 1st through today is about 5.5 inches of rain. Now, the fire season usually wraps up in October when we start to expect cooler temperatures and at least a little bit of rainfall. The normal rainfall for November and December is about 3.26 inches. Last November and December only saw 0.16 inches of rain. Now, research shows that climate change is making wildfire season longer and more intense, increasing the conditions that produce fire-conducive weather. Now, Climate Central has found that Southern California sees about 3 more fire weather days now compared to about 50 years ago, and it looks like we see more of those fire weather days in the immediate future. High wind and red flag warnings in effect for much of Southern California, where those Santa Ana winds are expected to increase through tonight into tomorrow before dying down briefly on Monday and then increasing again into Tuesday. Maurice, back to you.
Grant Gilmore, thanks so much. This thing is far from over. Let's take you back to the CBS Broadcast Center in New York and Jerika Duncan for tonight's other news. Jerika.
Maurice, thank you to you and your crew. You guys are doing incredible work bringing us those important stories. Straight ahead on the CBS Weekend News, Jack Smith, who led prosecutions of Donald Trump, resigns. Missing minutes, new details about the investigation into this deadly jetliner crash in South Korea. And later, we get a look at Los Angeles' better angels responding to those most in need. Stay with us. Jack Smith, the special counsel who took over 2 investigations into Donald Trump, has resigned from the Justice Department. CBS's Willie James Enman has more tonight from the White House on what all of this means. Willie, good evening.
Jerika, good evening to you. The Attorney General has committed to releasing part of Smith's report on election interference, but first he will have to get approval from the courts. In a move that was widely expected, special counsel Jack Smith departed the Justice Department, capping off years' worth of federal investigations into President-elect Donald Trump. Buried in a footnote in a court filing this afternoon, federal prosecutors revealed Smith had, quote, separated from the department. Smith handed over his findings to the Department of Justice on 2 criminal investigations into the former president. One focused on his alleged mishandling of classified documents, and the other on allegations of election interference.
Let's remember that the 2 federal criminal cases pending against former President Trump will never move forward. And so all that's left for the Department of Justice to show their work is to provide that final report to the public.
A federal judge stopped the release of Smith's report earlier this week, leading to a last-minute appeal by the Department of Justice.
Merrick Garland has said that he will release the part of the report related to the federal election interference case, but not the part related to the Mar-a-Lago retention of documents case, because there are still 2 defendants that could go to trial in that case.
Levinson says ultimately the pending case against Trump's co-defendants could be upended by the president-elect's pick to lead the Justice Department. The federal judge in Florida has asked for more details of Smith's report on election interference by 10 a.m. tomorrow. And if the court sides with the Department of Justice, we could see the first volume in the coming days. Jerika.
All right, Willie James Enman at the White House. Thank you. Still ahead on the CBS Weekend News, investigators of the South Korean jetliner crash have learned something new and quite puzzling. We'll explain. Tonight, clean tap water is flowing again in Richmond, Virginia. The city lifted its boil water advisory, ending a 5-day crisis. The water system in the city of 200,000 was knocked out on Monday during a powerful winter storm. Today, we learned the black boxes of a Boeing jetliner that crashed in South Korea last month stopped recording about 4 minutes before the accident. That's the same time the pilots reported a bird strike. The Boeing 737-800 skidded off a runway on December 29th. 179 people were killed. Investigators say it's not immediately clear why the devices failed. 5 years ago today in Wuhan, China, a 61-year-old man died from a mysterious new virus. It was the first known death from COVID-19. There were no official remembrances in China today, where the pandemic is a taboo subject. COVID has now claimed 7 million lives worldwide, even with the eventual development of vaccines. Next on the CBS Weekend News, saying goodbye to a soul man. That's Sam Moore, the Memphis rhythm and blues singer who was the higher voice of the 1960s hit duo Sam and Dave. Known as Double Dynamite, they're best known for the hit Soul Man, which topped the charts and won a Grammy back in 1968. Well, today we learned Moore died in Coral Gables, Florida, following complications while recovering from surgery. Sam Moore was 89. When we return, we go back to Los Angeles, where people are finding comfort from neighbors willing to help.
Finally tonight, as the people here of Southern California discover how much they've lost, communities are stepping up to help them. Our Elise Preston is in Arcadia, California, with the details. Elise?
Maurice, this organic outpour of support grows by the minute. People just keep showing up at this racetrack to help, while people who have been forced out of their homes shop donations for what they need.
With every hot meal, hope and humanity are the focus here at this makeshift operation, where community members are feeding and clothing their neighbors who have lost everything in the LA fires.
We're also giving away 2 cases of water to each family.
You have a house full of memories over the last decade. What did you grab?
Nothing, just the paperwork, 1 pair of tennis shoes, like clothes, like some couple of clothes.
Everything else is gone.
Everything else.
So single mother Jocelyn Tavares came here to look for basic needs, blessed by a city of angels.
So this all started with me and my friends. We have a team. We had 2 hot dog carts, 500 hot dogs.
The love shown from just those hot dogs grew to this after Juan Diaz put out a call to action on social media. He believes hundreds of volunteers have come out to help at least 1,000 people find clothes, shoes, bedding, and household necessities.
I just want people to know that you don't have to be rich to come out here and help. And I feel like I'm God's soldier. So this is what I should be doing.
A soldier's mission Elizabeth Nuno will never forget.
Material comes in and out, but lives don't. We'll come up again. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a process, but we're together as community, family. We're all here, and they're all here for us.
Now, this spot is one of many places where people in LA are taking donations. If you would like to help wherever you are, head to redcross.org/CBS. Maurice?
Elise Preston, so good to see there. Thank you so much. And as we send it back to Jerika Duncan, Jerika, we see so many aspects to this story, the situation unfolding, the human cost, the people, the politics, so much. The one thing that jumps out to me and remains is that it's going to be about time. So long that we're going to be dealing with this, the people here in Southern California.
Absolutely, Maurice. And I have to say those harrowing stories really put in perspective what matters most. Again, thank you so much. Well, that is the CBS Weekend News for this Saturday. For Maurice Dubois in Los Angeles, we thank you so much for watching. I'm Jerika Duncan in New York. Have a good night.